is a private area, sir.
Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlisle. Please wait.
Mr. Whitmer is here to see Madame Carlisle. You can go right in.
Oh, by the way, I told Kate about this text.
What did she say?
Well, I thought she'd be mad at me, but...
What did I tell you? She's a sensible woman. And that stuff from your ex was like manipulation 101.
I know. I guess I thought she was gonna read into them and freak out, and say I must have done something to provoke her.
Shit, man. Caroline really did a number on you.
And I dare say I don't like it at all.
I spotted no less than 2 routes to get inside the house unseen.
We know what we're doing, sir. Don't worry about that.
Mr. Whitmer, thank you for coming on such short notice. A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlisle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
Greetings, sir.
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlisle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that a staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlisle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlisle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlisle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room.
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant. And poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night. A hidden door.
Something's off. Prove it what word is.
Mr. Patrick, can I do anything for you?
Yes.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlisle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlisle.
good today, sir.
Now just go away.
Of course, sir. I'll come back later.
Creepy old git.
Like that, I bet you've worked with a lot of high protein.
So I should probably.
Centuries the Carlisles have fought to prosper, all of us alone.
where it is.
What is?
My lost button.
And then show up like nothing's the least bit strange.
Oh, don't get your knickers all twisted.
I'm telling you, she's not.
You always led by example rather than by meaningless gestures. Really remember when I... You are 5, and climbing trees is supposed to be your area of...
On top of everything, Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick. I mean, that's a breaking heart happening if I ever saw one.
Poor thing.
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
gave me his coat and all.
Rosie, you need to forget about Patrick. No good's gonna come of it. Stick to your own kind.
Chris, he treated me like shit. All he wanted... Stupid video games.
Gregory Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Anything else you want to pry from my intricate...
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Is that all? Not very thorough, are you?
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
Emma Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Is that all?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Anything else you want to know?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
This'll be good.
Professor Edward Carlisle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. Anything else I can do to help?
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff are all the company he had. If that's all, I have a speech.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning? Or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy? And Mother will surely have a strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me.
Gregory, don't say more to that weird...
Looking good today, sir.
Pretty good.
What if he... with Zachary's death?
Oh, please.
I don't see him...
You look tanned. I bet Mother spent the last... Excuse me, can you get out of my face, please? You look tanned. I bet Mother spent the... Empress estate. Am I right?
I'm not at liberty to say, ma'am.
Oh, come on. I need to know what's going on. This affects...
Patrick Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Shit, it's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. So, is that it?
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexia used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him, then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death.
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlisle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
How are you today, sir?
How are you, sir?
This is Madame Carlisle's office. Please step inside.
How are you?
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to sense. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlisle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I'm sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. But that must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. The file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. I need some privacy. Thank you.
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
They're everywhere. Go, get out! It's the Constantine! Shit!